Hello and welcome to Kim's Cozy Corner. I am in the garden again and I'm just working on a few odds and ends. We have a nice warm day and I just want to take advantage of this nice warm day. I have been very busy in the garden trying to get things done. Some of the things I got done in the garden, I didn't have the camera on, or I should say I didn't have the sound on, and I was trying to get things done quickly. I want to share with you some of the things that I've gotten done so far. So I am sitting in my garden here around all of this cattle panel trellis, but I went ahead and got that cattle panel trellis up over at the neighbors. And here's the video of that. I was fortunate enough to have my daughter and her friend in town from Georgia while I was out in the garden doing some work, so they agreed to come out and help me drive these posts in the ground. Now, that post driver is 18 pounds, so I definitely was happy to have the help. You can see how much help my daughter was. All she did was dog sit while we worked very hard to get these posts in and the cattle panel trellis as well. Once the posts were in place, which is the last post you see being put in here, we needed to cut the cattle panel trellis down to size. And we measured it out to make sure we had the right size. We made sure we understood the direction that we wanted the cattle panel trellis to go in. And using these bolt cutters, that's not easy either. So we got them all cut, and then it was time to put them up. And using the T-post clips, I think is what you call it, and I've gotten really good at it at this point. Tony was able to hold everything up nice and high as I locked these cattle panel trellis in place, and we did that for each and every one of the beds that we had been working on. If I was trying to do it by myself, this would have probably taken me well over an hour between cutting and going back and forth and resting in between each one of those T-posts. It went super fast, and if you got a helper, that's obviously the best way to go after doing this type of task. Thanks to Tony, we got them in. You can see I had a helper helping me get it done, so I didn't have to use too much upper body strength in that process. But now we have the trellis in over at the neighbors, so we'll be ready to put those trellising vegetables in place. In addition to that, I also started a few of my herbs in one of my beds, and so here's the clip of that. I've been super busy and I've been getting some of those cool season crops in, and in the process of doing that, I figured I'll go ahead and take care of some herbs as well. So in this metal raised bed behind me, I've already planted, or should I say transplanted, some of my herbs, and let me share with you what they are. I have sage in here, I have thyme. This is the third year on some chives that I have growing. And there's the rosemary and my sweet marjoram are in this bed here. This is a 6 by 2 foot, I believe, metal raised bed. And I shouldn't, if I'm using the square garden method, I should be able to get 2 rows of 1 foot squares. But y'all know that I'm going to stretch it. You know I'm going to do a little something different. So in addition to these herbs that you see growing here, right in the very front, we will be adding either carrots or onion. I haven't decided yet, but one or the other. And on the back side of this bed here, we're going to trellis something. I haven't decided yet what it'll be. It may be melons. It may be cantaloupe. It may be watermelon. It may be peas for now. And because peas is a cool season crop, and so I can get those peas in now, get them out, and then trellis something else later in the season. So that's most likely what we will be doing. But that is my herb metal raised bed. And in addition to that, I was real busy, y'all. I was really, really busy. In addition to that, I also set up one more of my GreenStalk vertical planters. Now you might say it's a little early, Kim. I mean, it's the end of March, but it's a little early. You're still 4 weeks away, or just under 4 weeks away from your last frost date. But we are doing cool season crops, and cool season crops can take a frost. And in the next 10 days, there's only one day where I'm getting close to a temperature where I may have frost, and I have frost covers. So I went ahead and put one of those GreenStalk vertical planters together, and here's that clip. Now, I told you I've been busy, and here's the other thing that I've been working on. I have a 5-tier leaf planter fully set up and ready to go. Let me tell you what I added to this leaf planter. Now, I have my cover on my leaf planter to keep any kind of twigs, debris, leaves, all kinds of stuff falling from the sky out. And if you're interested in one of those covers, just go to the GreenStalk website and you can find those accessories and others. And there will be a link in the description below. But I have lettuce in the top 3 tiers. And this is all the lettuce that I started myself indoors. And it's a variety of things. And there's some very pretty lettuce. There's heading lettuce. There's romaine lettuce. A lot of different varieties of lettuce in this GreenStalk. On the 4th tier down, I have all of my many different types of parsley. And parsley is one of my favorite herbs. And I have 4 pockets full of parsley, and I have 2 pockets left that we will start parsley from seeds. And the bottom tier is still open, and we will be putting cilantro in that bottom tier. But look at that beautiful GreenStalk vertical planter filled with cool season crops. Look at a beautiful display. Isn't that art? Vegetable art is what I like to call it. Now that I've got those things done, I'm sitting here and I'm like, you know what? Let's go ahead and plant a few more cool season crops. I'm going to go ahead and put some of the broccoli and get that started in the ground right now as well. But I wanted to make sure that I'm putting all of my plants in a very narrow area. So if I need to pull out those frost covers, I only have to worry about one space. So we will be putting broccoli in right here, in this spot here. Now, if you remember, my plants are not very happy. They're not happy at all. I've probably lost at least half of my plants. So I am supplementing my plants this year for the first time in a few years with some store-bought plants. Now, I went to the nursery versus the big box store, so I got them super cheap. And I know that they were grown right here in Southwest Ohio, and they weren't shipped in from some big company. It was basically my neighbors down the street growing these vegetables. So it still feels like I grew it myself. I know I didn't. But these are mine, and these are mine, but I am going to supplement with some extras just so I can make sure I have plenty of broccoli and cauliflower and cabbage this year to last me a year. Now, buying your plants from a local nursery will save you a ton of money over paying $4, $5, $6 for one plant. So I was able to get a pack of, what is that? A pack of 4 for $1 and some change. And if you're lucky, there might be 5 or 6 plants in there. So always think about that when you're going to your local big box stores and nurseries. One, make sure that all the shelves are full. And if you can get an extra plant, why not? So let's get this in the ground. I also was gifted a tool. It came in the mail. It's from Berry and Bird. It's a handcrafted garden tool. Berry and Bird. I don't think this means anything, but Berry and Bird handcrafted garden tool. This is kind of like one of those all-in-one tools. You can cut with it, you can pull weeds with it. It's got a really, really nice wooden handle. It's heavy. I mean, I really like this. This is heavy duty. It's made out of stainless steel. It's got a sharp tip. It's good for gardening. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. It says it's ideal for use in borders, pots, used for planting seedlings, and this is nice. They call it a 5-in-1 hand widger. But we're going to use this today in our work. I will also put a link in the description below on where you can get one of these tools. I mean, this is nice. I mean, this is really nice. And it does have sharp edges, so if you need to cut something out or pull a weed up, it's going to be there for you. So let's get started. And I don't have a lot of time. We're just going to do just a little bit today just so I can keep the progress going. Let's keep moving. Now, I've done nothing to this bed, nothing whatsoever. And my goal is not to do anything to this bed in any of the spots except for where I'm going to plant. So at the end of the season last year in this bed, I took some of my pots and I dumped all the soil in here. I took some of my GreenStalk vertical planters and dumped them into this bed as well to fill this bed back up. And the only thing that and then I covered the bed with mulch, leaf mulch for the winter. And that's it. And I am not going to put a whole bunch of stuff in this bed. I am going to focus only on where I'm planting my plants. So this is an 8 by 2 foot bed. It's 8 feet long and it's 2 feet wide. In the back of this bed, we will have tomatoes growing up this trellis. In the front, and this will be the second year in a row that I've done this, I'm going to have broccoli growing along the front here. And so that's all I'm going to do. We are going to transplant this broccoli. Now, I try to use the square foot gardening method mostly. And so I am going to plant my plants about 12 inches apart. And I'm just going to eyeball it. I'm not going to really do anything to properly measure. And in each one of these little holes, I'm going to drop some all-purpose fertilizer. This is Dr. Earth. It's a 222 all-purpose fertilizer. I'm going to mix that in just a little bit. It's so low and slow, it should not burn the plants, but I just like to be extra careful. And then in each one of the holes, I'm going to add some Mykos, which is a mycorrhizal inoculant that helps your plant's root system bring in water, nutrition, and it basically just gives you a stronger root structure. And since I'm in a hurry, that's about all we're going to do today. We're going to put in premium crop. It looks like I got 5 out of 6 that survived. I'm going to plant that. It's really more like 4 out of 6 that survived. That's not looking good, but we're going to try to plant that anyway. And when I'm planting my broccoli, I like to plant it just a little deeper than what they were growing indoors. Not much, just a little bit to try to help with those stems, just a little bit. And I always get asked, Kim, what is the little toy that you're in? Or the little chair that you're in? And it's actually a toddler's toy. This is not a garden toy or a garden stool. This is a toddler toy that's probably 20 years old, and I can't tell anybody where to find one. I've looked for them. I can't find it. So I'm sure someone's going to ask, and so I don't have to answer a whole bunch of comments. It's a toddler toy. It's 20 years old. I have no clue where you can buy it. But I like the little wheels on. I can just keep rolling down, just keep rolling to wherever I need to be. One of the things that I used to do was I used to fertilize the whole bed. I would get my little hand trowel or my hoe or my spade or whatever, and I would do this whole bed. But I kind of now feel like that might be a waste of materials. I will be putting the plants in and adding the fertilizer right to where the plants are. And I think that's going to be a much better way to go. So that's what we're doing. I'm putting them a little closer down on this end, but we will get these in, get our Mykos in. And I'm just going to keep doing this, and I'll bring you back and let you know what all I get in the ground. I don't want to waste your time. You've seen me do this if you've been with me for any period of time. And if not, I got tons and tons of videos showing how I do this. It's super simple. I am just, and remember, now I am in my cool season. I can't put just anything in the ground just yet. I can only put my cool season crops that survived the week that I was away. And I bury them just a little bit deeper than what they were growing inside, and that's it. And then I'm going to pull this mulch back around to give them some protection. But that's the process. Now these are blue ribbon broccolis that I'm adding now, which is a different type of broccoli. This one looks dead. I'm going to plant it anyway. You never know. I might get lucky. And the broccoli that I bought from the nursery, it just says broccoli. It doesn't say what variety. It just says broccoli. That's all it says, 50 to 80 days. So I'm not quite sure what type of broccoli it is, but beggars can't be choosy. And these are so much healthier than mine. Now I'm going to move over to the bed just behind me, and I'm going to do the same thing with cauliflower and broccoli, and I will bring you back. So let's talk a little bit about what we did today. In this space here, I planted both broccoli and cauliflower. Now, I didn't prepare the whole bed. I only added some additional Fox Farm Ocean Forest topsoil to this bed because it was a little low. I added some fertilizer and my Mykos, and I planted all of my broccoli and my cauliflower. Now, if we were to get a light frost, I can easily add some type of frost cover to this space here. In this bed here, I planted broccoli, and some of the plants look great and some of them are on their last leg, but I figured I would give it a fighting chance. Now, some of these are mine, like these right here. These are my plants, and all of these down through here are my plants. So hopefully they will bounce back, and if not, I have replacement plants. Now, again, it is super early in my area. I am in zone 6, some people would say 6A, Southwest Ohio. And we are at the end of March, and I'm about 4 weeks away from my last frost date. But I am planting cool season crops. These are brassicas. Brassicas can take a light frost. Honestly, they're typically a little sweeter once they've had a light frost on them. So I am taking a chance because I'm just this much too early, but I think we're going to be okay. And if the weather changes and it gets cold, I can easily cover these crops up. So make sure you understand what plants you're planting now and what time of year your last frost is coming to determine what you can plant. So I'm taking a chance. I'm going a little early. I'm about a week, maybe 2 weeks earlier than I'm typically planting my brassicas, but we're going to chance it. Now let me show you one other bed where I planted just a couple of things. Now this is one of my metal raised beds, and I had a couple cauliflower that I just wanted to get out of the containers. So here's a store-bought snow crown cauliflower, and beside it are my white hybrid. These are early cauliflowers that were on their last leg. These are mine. Hopefully they'll bounce back. So we have 3 cauliflowers in this bed here. Now this bed will be my hot pepper bed, but I won't be planting peppers until at the earliest mid-May, at the earliest. So I'm at least 6 weeks out for that. And this is cauliflower. So once I pull the head of cauliflower out, this plant's done and it'll make room for those pepper plants to go. So I'm starting these, and then the second crop for this space will be the peppers. So I'm trying to get the most use out of all of my spaces this year since we're growing for 11 different people. And also, I don't want you to forget about this beautiful tool that I got in the mail for me to give it a try, and I really like it. I use this tool here to pull up a few weeds. I mean, it's big enough to dig a hole as well, so I really, really like this tool. It's called Berry and Bird, and the link will be in the description below. I figured I'll end my video over here with my peach tree that's just blooming away. So hopefully we're gonna have peaches as well this year. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel. And I will keep these videos coming just for you. Until next time, and I hope there will be a next time that you come back to Kim's Cozy Corner and hang out with me. Bye.